गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। जय हिंद, प्रणाम एंड वणक्कम एंड लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट सत श्री अकाल। आज हम बात करने वाले हैं इज अ ट्रांस एलएसी क्लैश इमिनेंट, और इसके बारे में बात करने के लिए मेरे साथ हैं जनरल दुष्यंत सिंह। दुष्यंत सिंह, वेलकम टू टुडे इवनिंग प्रोग्राम एट गना शॉट। बहुत दिन के बाद हम मिल रहे हैं। इट्स अ प्लेजर टू सी यू ऑलवेज।
Thank you, sir. Jai Hind and Namaskar, Pranam to everyone else, to all your audience.
या एंड इससे पहले कि मैं और कुछ बोलूं, 2 दिन पहले ये दृश्य नजर आया था। ये इन्होंने साउथ चाइना मॉर्निंग पोस्ट में दिस वाज अ पोस्टर वेरी क्लियर कि ड्रैगन और एलिफेंट का लड़ाई का सिलसिला, राइट। वो कलर पता नहीं क्यों वो पर्पल कलर में बनाया है ड्रैगन और एलिफेंट को, बट है तो ये
बट एक चीज आप मिस कर गए।
हाँ
बैकग्राउंड में
बोलिए।
सन है, बैकग्राउंड में सन
हाँ,
है, तो आदित्य आदित्य एल की चमक उनके ऊपर आ रही है,
उनके
तो कहीं
आ
ना
रही
कहीं
है,
ड्रैगन घबरा रहा है।
घबरा रहा है, ठीक है। और इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है, राइट। तो बहुत है, शी जिनपिंग यहाँ नहीं आ रहा है। ब्रिक्स में उसको टाटा बाय बाय बोल दिया। डॉलराइजेशन के बारे में नया मैप आ गया। आई मीन देयर सो मेनी थिंग्स व्हिच आर गोइंग ऑन। इसीलिए इसीलिए ये सब्जेक्ट हमने चुना आज कि क्या इंडिया और चाइना का एलएसी के ऊपर कोई लड़ाई होने वाला है या क्लैश होने वाला है। इससे पहले आई रिक्वेस्ट जनरल दुष्यंत टू गो ओवर द बेसिस ऑफ दिस प्रेजेंटेशन। आज एक पहले कमेंट पिछले 1 घंटे से मैं देख रहा हूँ, किसी ने ये कमेंट डाला है ग्लोबल यूनिवर्स का। उसके बाद उसको मैं पहले सबको दिखाना चाहता हूँ। वो बोलते हैं यस इट इज इमिनेंट, बट व्हेन 3 years 5 years 7 years डोंट नो। इट्स प्रेडिक्शन ऑफ भविष्य मल्लिका ओरिसा एंड वीर ब्रह्म हंफरा गिरी तेलुगु, सेंट इन तेलुगु लैंग्वेज, एंड दे आर जेन्युइन। सितारे भी बोल रहे हैं कि क्लैश होगा, पर बात यह है कि सितारों को ये नहीं पता कि कब होने वाला है।
कब कब होगा?
कब होगा। पर हमारा
तो
अनुमान यह है कि ये टाइम, सितारे बहुत दूर है, लड़ाई हो सकता है नजदीक है। तो आपका क्या विचार है दुष्यंत जी, आप बताइए।
देखिए, इससे पहले कि मैंने एक प्रेजेंटेशन बना रखी है,
हम या
जिसमें हम थोड़ा सा उसको साइंटिफिकली एनालाइज
विल
करेंगे, थोड़ा मोर क्रिटिकली एनालाइज करेंगे।
करेक्ट।
एक तो होता है एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल प्रेडिक्शन जो गुरु उड़ीसा ने किया है, लेकिन वो एक बड़ा प्रेडिक्शन नहीं है। ये सभी को पता है कि इंडिया और चाइना के बीच में लड़ाई होनी है। ये तो आप मान के चलिए, इसमें देयर इज नो डाउट व्हाटसोएवर। When is the question, and for that we have, I mean, people like us who would try to decipher as to the time frame and then give it out into the public कि कब होगा कब नहीं होगा. So that is what we are going to look at today, and for that, can we have my
या द
presentation so that
प्रेजेंटेशन या what I'd like to
so
add कि जो what General Dushyant said is we don't know when it will happen, but the imminence is always there. इसका जो shadow of a clash is always there.
and
What will be the yeah go ahead.
and ये भी है कि क्लैश किस तरह के होंगे और कब होंगे।
कब
दो
होंगे
चीजें
और कहाँ,
दो चीजें
कहाँ
और कहाँ होंगे। देयर विल बी
करेक्ट।
क्लैशेस. It's not that it will take 3 years. There may be a clash tomorrow also. But what
या
kind of a clash? Will it be a border skirmish? Will it be something beyond the Galwan? Will it be something? Because everything is unpredictable as far as India and China is concerned. बड़ा बड़ा unpredictable सा सिनेरियो होता है। तो इस समय चाइना की जो हालत है, जो मेरे स्टेटमेंट में कैद हो गई है, it has been captured in the statement. Weakening internal situation leads to an aggressive external posturing. यानी कि अंदर उसकी हालत काफी खस्ता हो रखी है चाइना की, जो आप सभी लोग जानते हैं। कई डिस्कशन हो गए हैं आपके चैनल पे, मेरे चैनल पे, और बाकी जो इस तरह के चैनल्स हैं वो भी डिस्कस कर रहे हैं। तो ये जो इंटरनल सिचुएशन नॉर्मली जब किसी देश की खराब होती है तो इट वांट्स टू डाइवर्ट द अटेंशन ऑफ द इट्स ओन पब्लिक टू एक्सटर्नल इश्यूज, and that is what China is now going through. So therefore, if you look at its internal situation, all of you are aware, struggling economy, it is going nowhere. Growth rate जो predictions है इस साल 5.1 है, but by 2028 it is going to reduce to 3 point something. So एक ये डिक्लाइन शुरू है. एजिंग पॉपुलेशन के बारे में भाई बहुत लोगों ने बात कर दी, और इसमें जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट बात ये है कि क्वालिटी ऑफ डिफेंस पर्सनल पे फर्क पड़ रहा है. इनफैक्ट इसी को लिंक करते हुए एक रिपोर्ट आई है जो कि बड़ा टेलिंग स्टेटमेंट है, पुअर क्वालिटी ऑफ पीएलए पर्सनल एज पर द रिपोर्ट, एंड उसकी हेडिंग है इक्विपमेंट अवेटिंग टैलेंट. अब आप इसी से समझ लीजिए कि कितनी बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है. खाली इकोनॉमी के लिए प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. द एजिंग पॉपुलेशन नॉट ओनली द प्रॉब्लम फॉर इकोनॉमी बट ऑल्सो फॉर इट्स डिफेंस पर्सनल. जी जिनपिंग की जो मानसिक हालत है, वो चाइनीज कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी से ही डिसइल्यूजनमेंट हो गया, डिसइल्यूजनमेंट हो रखा है उनको. इसके बारे में मैं एक स्टेटमेंट आपको बताऊंगा. एंड मोर इम्पोर्टेंटली 2023 सिप्री से 23% चाइनीज आर्म्स एक्सपोर्ट्स हैव बीन ड्रॉप्ड बिकॉज ऑफ पुअर क्वालिटी. तो आप देख रहे हैं कहाँ कहाँ पर इनका इम्पैक्ट हो रहा है इनके ऊपर. एंड अभी दे विल नॉट फील द हीट. Another 2-3 years down the line, they will start feeling the heat. 19 trillion economy may start melting down. I'm not saying they are there, but it will have that kind of an impact. You have seen the internal situation of the defense forces, rocket force. The entire hierarchy was chopped out by, purged by the by Xi
Yeah.
Jinping. Now, what it indicates to us is that weakening interior, aggressive external behavior. कैसे है? अभी आप इसमें देखिए, if you take the border talks, शुरू में they showed that we wish to avoid clashes, we must maintain peace and tranquility, etc etc. During the border talks, core commander level border talks हुई थी, उसके बाद एक major general level border talks हुई थी. So people thought that possibly China is trying to mend its ways, but that did not happen. Look at the Xi Jinping statement on the Chinese Communist Party. इनकी स्टेटमेंट पढ़ने वाली है. ये रिकॉर्डेड है, ये चाइना से ही बाहर निकल के आई है. ऐसा नहीं कि हम अपनी तरफ से इसको कॉन्कॉक्ट कर रहे हैं. Xi Jinping emphasized the significance of adhering to the principles of Marxism and communism within the context of Chinese characteristics. वो बार बार बोलते रहते हैं socialism with Chinese characteristics, but Xi Jinping उसको उल्टा बोलते हैं. The true socialism is socialism followed by the Chinese. He warned that deviating from these beliefs could lead to similar disintegration as seen in the case of Soviet Union. ये एक बहुत बड़ी स्टेटमेंट है फ्रॉम अ पर्सन हु इज सीन टू बी काइंड ऑफ ऑल पावरफुल, कंट्रोलिंग ऑल द थ्री ऑर्गन्स ऑफ चाइना. We have to reflect on this, and this is a very recent statement. This is a statement of this year, so we have to be careful while reading China properly. कि clash होगा, कब होगा? This gives us an indication that he will try other means before actually going for any clash with India. Okay. आप ब्रिक्स समिट की बात ले लीजिए. ब्रिक्स समिट में द चाइनीज प्रीमियर had a very very I would say disheartening body language. But what Global Time does, immediately when the BRICS summit was over, it comes out with a statement saying BRICS summit should be a wake up call for India. Then it follows it up with a new map on 31st of August, where it not only annoys India, क्योंकि इंडिया के लिए तो ये पुरानी बात है, हर साल वो यही मैप निकालता है जिसमें अरुणाचल को अपने पास दिखाता है और अक्साई चीन को अपने पास दिखाता है, और जो पीओजेके का इलाका है जो जो सीड किया है उसने पाकिस्तान ने चाइना को, उसको भी वो अपने मैप में दिखाता है. लेकिन इस बार उसने थोड़ा ही इज गॉन बियॉन्ड हिज नॉर्मल डिक्टेट. ही हैज अनॉयड रशिया, he has annoyed the entire South China Sea, almost all the countries which matter in South China Sea, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, and Vietnam, because these are the countries which actually control. And of course, Taiwan, I don't even want to mention it because Taiwan तो उसका जन्म सिद्ध आपस में दोनों का टकराव होता है. They both are clashing with each other on very small issues. Look at its reaction when the vice premier went to US. China launched a ground exercise sea exercise surrounding Taiwan from all directions. Its aircraft crossed the meridian, China Strait meridian. Almost 23 of them went toward the Taiwanese side. So it is trying to tell to its public that look, we are very strong and we are capable of looking after our affairs. So do not worry, China is heading towards the correct direction. Xi Jinping डरे हुए हैं, इसलिए ये वो जो होते हैं ना, जब कुत्ता दो कुत्ते लड़ाई करते हैं तो जो दांत बाहर निकालता है ना कुत्ता, वो एक्चुअली डरा होता है. He is not the one who is aggressive. He is the one who is afraid. If you see two dogs fighting with each other, the dog which is powerful remains quite silent and towering over that. That is the situation which Xi Jinping is having. I mean, ये पुरानी वो हो गई है, कहाँ न्यूज़ हो गई है, लेकिन मैप के तुरंत बाद उसने एक रीजन ढूंढा कि भाई I will not visit China. I will not visit India during the
India.
G20 summit. Why? It is not that he is against the G20. He wants to target India. He wants to put India in a lower light by saying that, look, you have not been able to manage to get the big powers together. Indonesia was able to do it, but here it is not so. And Russia, of course, has a different reasons for not attending, and India understands those reasons. So therefore, we should not equate Russia's non-attendance, Putin's non-attendance to Beijing's non-attendance. Beijing's non-attendance is more directed to irritate India, to frustrate India, to put India under a bad light, because whatever people may say, लोग बोल रहे हैं कि India didn't come out well out of the BRICS summit, but in my view, I think India played its cards well in the BRICS 20 summit. As that would be a separate discussion by itself, but India did manage to get its way as far as BRICS 20 is concerned, and that has been hurting Xi Jinping को कहीं ना कहीं वो तकलीफ पहुंचा रहा था. So इसका ये मतलब हुआ कि ये क्यों कर रहा है? Why is it doing this kind of a policy? It is looking at the current situation as the right time to assimilate Taiwan, awaiting outcome of Ukraine and elections in Taiwan. मेरा ये मानना है कि चाइना ये सोच रहा है कि इसमें रशिया भी थोड़ा वीकेंड है बिकॉज ऑफ द रशिया यूक्रेन वॉर. ताइवान काफी अपना सर उठा रहा है बेस्ड ऑन द बैकिंग ऑफ यूएस. If the Russia Ukraine war outcome is in favor of Russia, believe you me, Taiwan will get some kind of action, will see some kind of action as far as China is concerned. If nothing else, the Midway Islands will be captured by China. That's the way I look at it. और स्ट्रैटेजी इस समय क्या अडॉप्ट कर रहा है? वो थ्री वॉरफेयर वाली स्ट्रैटेजी अडॉप्ट कर रहा है. मैप कर रहा है, लीगल कर रहा है, इकोनॉमिक कर रहा है. मतलब ये ही इज ट्राइंग टू प्ले इन इट्स ओल्ड गेम ऑफ थ्री वॉरफेयर स्ट्रैटेजी. दिस इज अ सेपरेट डिस्कशन विच ऑल ऑफ यू आर अवेयर. आई थिंक जनरल शंकर ने भी इसके ऊपर काफी डिटेल में एक डिस्कशन किया था अपने चैनल पे. It is also trying to edge out the US from the South China Sea in short term and from the second island chain in the medium to long term, as per its vision of becoming a superpower of 2049. ये एक उसने अपनी एक विजन ना रखी है, उसके तहत भी ये कुछ ऐसे काम कर रहा है ये मैप मूव वाले. India is an eyesore, looks at India as a strong competitor and therefore it wants to keep India unsettled. कभी blow hot blow cold. इसका एक चाइनीज प्रोवर्ब है, डाडा टंटन. fight talk fight. This is what it has been doing with India right from 1949 when and we somehow fell into the trap of talk and faced the 1962 war. Subsequently also it has done a similar kind of an activity, but I'm sure this time we will not fall prey to that strategy. We are all aware of what Chinese do. And therefore, China would like to keep India unsettled. How? कैसे करेगा unsettled? कैसे करेगा? उसके लिए हम डिस्कस करेंगे जिसका ये आज का जो सब्जेक्ट था कि कॉन्फ्लिक्ट सिनेरियो हमारे बीच में क्या हो सकते हैं. ये जो आपको स्लाइड दिखा रहे हैं इसमें एक पूरा फुल स्पेक्ट्रम कैप्चर किया गया है. हमारे पास अनसेटल्ड बॉर्डर्स हैं और इन अनसेटल्ड बॉर्डर्स में 10 लोकेशन ऐसी हैं जहां पे स्पेसिफिक डिस्प्यूट्स हैं. ईस्टर्न सेक्टर यानी कि अरुणाचल प्रदेश में 3 सेक्टर ऐसे हैं जहां की सेंट्रल सेक्टर जो कि यूपी और हिमाचल के बॉर्डर के ऊपर आता है. 3 ऐसी लोकेशंस हैं. 4 लोकेशंस ईस्टर्न लद्दाख में हैं. लेकिन मेरा ये मानना है please don't go by these locations. Chinese are dumping every agreement down the drain. उन्होंने रशिया के साथ जो एग्रीमेंट किया था 2008 में ऑन द बॉर्डर, दे हैव डंप्ड इट दिस टाइम बाय शोइंग उसूरिस्की बोल्शोव
उसी
आइलैंड्स
रियल है,
as part of their territory, which was supposed to be
part of
divided half and half. So they may expand the locations, and Galwan was one such incident. Doklam was the second such incident. We may see new areas opening up. In Bhutan, they opened up the North Bhutan area, sorry, northeastern Bhutan area on the border of India and Bhutan, the Tri Junction. So they are capable of doing any new area, uh, intrusion, transgression, etc. We should be prepared for that. So that kind of a action may take place, and we should be careful of that. What about unarmed violent clashes? Doklam, Galwan, Kailash Range, Yangtze, possible. In Kailash ranges, it has got a very, very, I would say, humiliating defeat. Or I wouldn't say defeat, also a humiliating setback. Why? It could not detect our forces coming on and occupying the heights which were overlooking the Spangur Gap and the Moldo area. So, therefore, uh, they became vulnerable, especially the southern bank of Pangangso became vulnerable for any Chinese movement. Then you have the limited conflict, Aksai Chin, Uttarakhand, Arunachal Pradesh. These are the area where we could have limited conflict. We will see how much is the probability of these limited conflicts. Can it happen? And finally, is the all-out war. Can it happen? What time it can happen? And here I would like to put that भविष्यवाणी जो करी थी उड़ीसा के भविष्यवाणी वाले वक्ता ने कि वो कहाँ पर जाएगा, क्योंकि अल्टीमेट एम चाइना का क्या है? हाँ या भविष्य मलिका उड़ीसा एंड वीर ब्रह्म इंफ्रागिरी तेलुगु. सो ये दोनों की भविष्यवाणी इस ऑल आउट वॉर के तहत है, न कि ये जो छोटे छोटे जो चीजें मैंने बताई हैं ये होती रहेंगी. दिस विल कंटिन्यू. क्यों? चाइना वांट्स टू बिकम मोर adept at deploying its military on a regular basis and in a diversified ways to enable it to win local wars. ये उसका एम है, और उसको करने के लिए पहले वो धीरे धीरे वीकन करेगा अपने एडवर्सरी को. और उसके दो ही एडवर्सरी हैं इस समय, यूएस एंड इंडिया, टू ऑफ सम सिग्निफिकेंस. द अदर्स आर really they don't matter that much to them. So in my view, what we are going to see is a gray zone war between India and China. And what are the toolkits? Information war, cyber wars, economic wars, legal wars, कार्टोग्राफिक वॉर्स जो कि आज चल रहा है, जिसके ऊपर डिस्कशन भी होगा. कल हम इसके ऊपर एक डिटेल डिस्कशन करेंगे. कल वो मेरे
Scribe
चैनल
में.
पे होगा, कल मेरे चैनल पे होगा, स्काइप पे होगा, और जन शंकर विल टॉक इन डिटेल अबाउट दिस. सो वी विल
Yeah.
टेक अ लुक एट दैट. डिप्लोमेटिक वॉर्स तो आप देख रहे हैं पिछले 1 साल से चल रहे हैं, 2 साल से चल रहे हैं, जब से गलवान शुरू हुआ है. एंड आई मस्ट पुट इट ऑन रिकॉर्ड that Mr. Jaishankar is doing a great job of it. I think he's unsettling the Chinese no ends. Imagine just listen to his statement. The new map is an
Absurd, yeah.
absurd, and that is kind of a language which no one else has used it in the past. None of the other countries have used this kind of a language what Jaishankar has used it. Hats off to him. So therefore, despite the nuclear factor and stated aim of becoming a prosperous nation by 2049, conventional deterrence is a must, because ultimately, as per the भविष्यवाणी, ऑल आउट वॉर होगा इंडिया और चाइना के बीच में. तो हमारी तैयारियां किस तरह की होंगी, दैट विल डिपेंड ऑन दिस ओवरऑल स्पेक्ट्रम ऑफ वॉरफेयर, which will start from gray zone and go right up to an all out war. इसमें न्यूक्लियर फैक्टर कितना प्ले करेगा उसकी एक अलग कहानी है. सॉन मैकफेड की एक किताब है जो कि मैं इस समय पढ़ रहा हूँ, और उसमें ये बात चल रही है कि हो सकता है ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम पीपल विल स्टार्ट एक्सेप्टिंग लो ग्रेड nuclear bombs as an acceptable norm, which destroys a limited area. Of course, radiation effects would be there, but it will be that much lesser in the longer distance. We don't know what kind of a war we will fight. It will be a very, very, it is in a distant time, but it is going to be different from what it is today. So, is there a possibility of clash on the LAC? Pitfalls of physical clash are by now well known to PLA, and such an incident may not be attempted. Why? probability of escalation is high and victory is limited. Why I say so? Quality of soldiers. Remember my first slide when I said that currently China is facing a problem of equipment awaiting talent. So वहाँ एक प्रॉब्लम उनके साथ चल रही है. Battle hardness of Indian armed forces untested. They may be having superiority in the, in the non-contact sphere, but when it comes to physical contact, I think that is where the Chinese will suffer. And then of course the nuclear overhang. It would be prudent for India to play its nuclear cards well, and it is good that we have now kept that policy which we had said of no first use to now cannot be ruled out. You know, so there is a ambiguity in our policy now, and that has been done possibly to keep China as one of our adversaries in mind. What may take place? Wars in the other domains. I've already covered this, so I'm not going to repeat this. Proxy may start happening again via the Pakistani establishment. If Pakistan is able to stabilize itself, वो अलग कहानी है. मुझे तो लगता नहीं कि पाकिस्तान अब is going to stabilize in any near future. Look at the problems they are facing in Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir. They are facing problems in Gilgit Baltistan. These are the areas until they stabilize. They doing a proxy on India is going to be very difficult. But yes, that option is there with them. My take is we will start seeing a mini Cold War between India and China. This will start happening. We will be striving against each other, especially in the niche technologies. Chandrayaan, Aditya L, hypersonics, AI, robotics. I want to share with you all audiences that artificial intelligence is going to be a big factor in the future wars. India has notched up places now. It is fifth in the level of investments in artificial intelligence, only behind US, China, UK, and Israel. And very soon, by 2027, we are likely to cross these and we'll be third in the artificial intelligence in the military I'm talking about. Therefore, I think this is going to be the new dimensions where new Cold War will start happening between India and China. Mini Cold War. I won't say Cold War, but mini Cold War will start happening. You will see these low level clashes. What should India do? This is my last slide, and then we can take on the questions.
No, we'll
I mean,
discuss. We'll discuss
okay.
a few issues and then we'll take questions, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying that we
Yeah.
discussions would
Take it,
also.
take it, take it. Yeah, we'll do that.
What should India do? I am picking up the line from Sun Tzu: bide time and build capability in other domains of warfare, artificial intelligence, cyber drones, non-contact firepower means dissuasive nuclear deterrence. Seek partners for an assured supply of warlike weapons, equipment, and munitions. Concurrently work towards indigenization at a rapid pace. Keep the economy on track. Seek global partnerships across two blocks, that is G7, G20, and BRICS. Work towards the leadership of the global South. Now, here I have some views of mine. I personally feel that India, as of now, is doing kind of a balancing act between G20 and BRICS. I hope we do not land into some kind of instability ourselves in order to keep the two blocks in the balance, because overtly it is now being seen that there seems to be some kind of a movement of east-west divide taking place, and the global south will be caught in this vortex of east-west divide. How, when, where, how, what will be the shape of this divide? I hope we are not looking at the Cold War era kind of alignment coming up. That is something which we need to be careful of. It should not be, we should not become a NAM. That's basically my point is that we should not become the leader of the NAM. We have to take a decisive decision. Multipolarity is what we must aim at, and not this bipolar world, split of creation of a bipolar world. Then lastly, actively respond in the gray zone. This is where I have a little issue with our powers that be, that we are somehow not proactively responding in the gray zone. We must have our own narrative. Why don't we have a one India narrative? Why don't we criticize the one China policy narrative? Because unless we do that, unless we pay back in the same coin, I don't think we will be able to really put China in its place. In any case, I think we have enough of conventional strength there to we may not win the war, but we'll definitely be able to deter China from undertaking any major or a limited offensive, at least in the near future. So that was the short little presentation which I made, and so my bhavishwani is that we will see low level wars, low level conflicts of the transgression types, gray zone activities taking place between India and China almost on a daily basis. There, we will not be allowed to settle down into a peaceful growth trajectory by the Chinese. So we must be prepared for that kind of a scenario in the future and keep ourselves from becoming a NAM again. I would still say keep working toward the multipolar world. That is the way to go. Thank you, sir, and you can
Yeah, I
shoot your.
yeah, I think you made some very valid points. आपने बहुत अच्छी तरीके से पूरा दृश्य बता दिया कि आज का हालत क्या है, चाइना का क्या हालत है, हमारा क्या हालत है, कहाँ किटपिट हो सकता है, दरार कहाँ है, ब्रिज तो है ही नहीं, वो तो सब टूट गए, और वो क्या कर सकता है और हम क्या कर सकते हैं, ये आजकल। और आपने ये भी बता दिया कि उसके अंदरूनी प्रॉब्लम्स बहुत हैं, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट बोल दीजिए, प्रॉपर्टी का प्रॉब्लम, इकोनॉमी डाउन हो रहा है, एजिंग का प्रॉब्लम है, उसका कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी के अंदर खुद का प्रॉब्लम है, जैसे रॉकेट फोर्सेस के कमांडर्स को सैक कर रहा है, ये वो बहुत प्रॉब्लम है उधर। और ये भी
मतलब
कहीं
अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट, इंडिया इंडिया और चाइना का अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेशियो देखेंगे, इंडिया इज 7.8% एंड चाइना इज 21%.
ट्वेंटी
वन इन
ट्वेंटी वन
एवरी
परसेंट
फाइव वन इन एवरी
वो
फाइव इज अनएम्प्लॉयड.
अनएम्प्लॉयड। और बहुत चीजें हैं उसके। और ये भी मैंने कहीं पढ़ा है कि वहाँ लोकल प्रॉब्लम्स हो रहे हैं, जिसकी वजह से जी जिनपिंग अभी चाइना छोड़ के भी नहीं आ सकता। सब ये सोच रहे हैं कि ही इज नॉट कमिंग टू इंडिया इज अ स्नब टू इंडिया, बट आई थिंक ही कैन नॉट लीव चाइना एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, दैट्स माय असेसमेंट। And if you see, there's a report from Nikkei Asia which says that ये जो बेदाही मीट में हुआ है, he's got a dressing down from the party elders. So there are problems. Xi Jinping has got his own compulsions for not coming out from there. Okay, I'd like to make one more point which you mentioned, and I'd like to reinforce it. आपने ये बोला कि बहुत लोग बोल रहे हैं कि ब्रिक्स का समिट जो है वो चाइना का हो गया और इंडिया को, India was shown down and all that, which many people in India are talking.
Yeah.
बट मेरा, जैसे आपने बोला, मेरा भी बिल्कुल उसका विपरीत है। क्यों? वी हैव टू सी नॉट ब्रिक्स अलोन, वी हैव टू सी शंघाई कॉर्पोरेशन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का जो समिट हुआ था, वर्चुअल समिट, ये ब्रिक्स का समिट और ये आने वाला G20 समिट, ये तीनों को मिलके देख लीजिए। चाइना को नीचे दिखाया गया है डेलिबरेटली बाय इंडिया। अगर अभी तक
Yeah.
हमें समझ में नहीं आया है तो ये हम बेवकूफ हैं। मैं साफ बता रहा हूँ, बहुत लोग हमारे बेवकूफ हैं, वो जो सिर्फ अकेला देख रहे हैं। शंघाई कॉर्पोरेशन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में हमने क्या बोला, हमने इनका whatever China wanted to put his GDI plans, all his verbiage, the way he wanted it in the statement, हमने ना कर दिया। हमने BRI का एक जिक्र भी नहीं अलाउ किया उस वक्त। ठीक, राइट। ब्रिक्स में आप देखिए, ये जो एक्सपेंशन हुआ ब्रिक्स का, जो 6 देश हैं उसमें 4 देशों के साथ हमारा स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप है। अगर हमारा स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनर के साथ एक्सपेंशन हो रहा है तो हमें क्या दिक्कत है, राइट? ये अर्जेंटीना वहां हो गया तो उससे ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ता, ना इथियोपिया से ज्यादा फर्क पड़ता है, बाकी तो हमारे स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनर्स हैं। ईरान और इंडिया का लेन देन बहुत है, और ईरान एक चीज है, ईरान वही
चाइना
करता
से
है जो उसके, चाइना से भी प्रॉब्लम
चाइना
है उसको,
चाइना से पहले इंडिया ईरान के रिलेशनशिप्स हैं.
रिलेशनशिप है। और ईरान ऐसा देश है जो अपना खुद देखता है, ना वो चाइना की तरफ झुकेगा ना इंडिया की तरफ झुकेगा, राइट? खास करके एससीओ में, हम एससीओ नहीं, ये ब्रिक्स में हमने क्या किया, वो जो ब्रिक्स का करेंसी विच दे
उसको
वांटेड, उसको नाकार
उसको
कर
नहीं
दिया,
होने दिया, उसको नहीं होने
उसको
दिया.
नहीं होने दिया। और उसकी वजह से, बिकॉज देयर वाज नो इकोनॉमिक एजेंडा लेफ्ट, Xi Jinping, I think, couldn't attend that economic conference before the one day before the main conference. So
Yeah.
Xi Jinping has a lot of problems with India. और अभी he is trying to say that if I don't come to India, it's a snub to India, but I think that it's the other way around. If it doesn't come to India, it's good, right? And any case,
I want to just add here
yeah.
the activities which China and Xi Jinping are doing in the last 4 5 days is to create a
Hawa.
हलचल in G20 that मैं तुम्हारे ऊपर अभी भी present हूँ virtually in
No,
G20,
virtually, yeah. And no one is bothered about it. ठीक
but
है?
nobody is bothered about it.
Bothered about it. Nobody is bothered about it. सेकंड थिंग, आपने बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात किया है विजय, मैं सबको बताना चाहता हूँ. आपने जिक्र किया कैलाश रेंज का ऑपरेशंस के बारे में और यांगजी में जो हुआ उसके ऑपरेशंस के बारे में, हमने कैसे उनको आउट मैनूवर किया या धकेल दिया है. मैं सबको बताना चाहता हूँ क्योंकि बार बार आता है, चाइना के पास वो है, चाइना के पास ये टेक्नोलॉजी है, चाइना के पास बहुत तगड़ा फौज है, ये है, वगैरह 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 वगैरह. देखिए, बैटलफील्ड के ऊपर टेक्नोलॉजी का असर एक हद तक होता है. उस हद के बाद आपको आत्मनिर्भरता जो है आपके जवानों से मिलता है.
बिल्कुल.
और हमारे जवान का कोई मुकाबला करने वाला नहीं है, हमने दिखा दिया. और उनके जवान में उतना काबिलियत नहीं है कि ये माउंटेन्स में आके लड़ने के लिए, ये भी हमने देख लिया. आप थोड़ा अंदाजा लगाइए, इतना टेक्नोलॉजी होने के बाद एक ऑक्सीजन बॉटल लेके 14,000 में एक सोल्जर ने घूमना है, तो वो किस खेत का मूली है? ठीक है, वो तो जिस खेत का मूली भी है वो सड़ा हुआ मूली है. तो दैट्स द वे इट इज. सो टेक्नोलॉजी हैज गॉट लिमिटेड. तीसरा बात जो आपने बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बताया, आई थिंक वह बहुत अहम बात है. चाइना का मुकाबला करने के लिए आज के दिन विश्व में दो ही फौज है, एक यूएसए और एक इंडिया.
बिल्कुल.
और वही इसके एडवर्सरी हैं. अगर इंडिया और यूएसए मिल गए तो चाइना का को पट्टी पड़ा देंगे, इसमें दो राय नहीं है. ये मैं बार बार बोलता हूँ. तो ये जो भी हम कर रहे हैं, अगर आज के दिन चाहे यूएसए के साथ हमारा खुद का अलग प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है, पर हमारा दोनों के साथ एक कॉमन एडवर्सरी है, उसको मिलके सॉर्ट आउट करना चाहिए. ठीक, ओके. और जैसे जनरल दुष्यंत ने बताया, ग्रे जोन ऑपरेशंस, वन इंडिया वन चाइना, वन इंडिया का मैप भी बढ़ा दो तिब्बत तक, और तिब्बत का इशू को ताजा कर लो. ये सब ऑन द कार्ड्स है, हमें करने की खास जरूरत है. इसमें दो 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 राय नहीं है, राइट. और मैं आई एम ओनली ट्राइंग टू रीइंफोर्स व्हाट जनरल दुष्यंत हैज सेड. ओके. I just want to share my own experience of yesterday with everyone and आपके साथ भी. कल मैंने अरुणाचल में जो हमारे ऑफिसर स्थित हैं उनके साथ मैंने एक बात किया है. एंड ये जो बात हमने उनके साथ किया, दैट इज ऑन डिटरेंस एंड ग्लोबल बैलेंस ऑफ पावर एंड हाउ टू अवॉइड कॉन्फ्लिक्ट और हाउ टू मैनेज कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. ठीक. और बहुत चीज है जो मैंने उनके साथ बात किया, और वो एक 1.5 घंटे का, आई हैड टू स्पीक फॉर नियरली 1 hour 20 minutes. उसका रिकॉर्डिंग है मेरे पास. टुमारो आई विल पुट इट आउट इन पब्लिक डोमेन इन माय चैनल. लंबा है, 1 घंटा 20 मिनट का है, पर कृपया देखिए, छोटे छोटे में देखिए. मेरा 2 ऑप्शन है. I can either cut that video into 3 parts and put it as part 1, part 2, part 3, or I put it out as one video. आप लोग जिस तरीके से देखना है देख लीजिए, आप पूरा देखिए. What I got the feeling from our officers there was they were very confident. Right? I spoke to a lot of people as part of a webinar. We have a very confident set of people who are handling the LAC. So I have no doubt about that. राइट. अगर एलएसी से लेकर हमें यहाँ चेन्नई में बैठा हूँ, उनको बोल रहे हैं कि सर हमारे साथ बात कीजिए, हमें बताइए, और दिस इज अ कॉम्प्लिकेटेड टॉपिक व्हिच आई स्पोक, एंड आई स्पोक टू यंग ऑफिसर्स. दे अंडरस्टूड एंड दे आस्क्ड मी वेरी डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चंस एंड वेरी सर्चिंग क्वेश्चंस, व्हिच आई एम वेरी हैप्पी दैट आवर ऑफिसर्स एंड जेसीओस आर मेन आर इन गुड हैंड्स. और जो मैंने वीडियो जारी किया था अबाउट वीकनेसेस इन पीएलए, मैंने बताया कि भाई वो जो हिंदी और इंग्लिश वर्जन दोनों उनको दिखाइए. Now, I'll throw one question at you, General Dushyant, और ये इसके बारे में आपका मेरा आपका राय चाहिए. देखिए, मेरा ये राय है कि चाइना के पास 4 नए चीजें हैं फौज के अंदर। जब आप उनका मिलिट्री क्षमता बोलते हो जो भी है, 4 चीजें नए हैं। एक, इसका फौज नया है, ऑल हिज सोल्जर्स आर न्यू, कॉन्स्टेंटली न्यू, कॉन्स्क्रिप्ट है 2 साल के बाद बदली हो जाते हैं, हर
Oh
वक्त
yes.
नए हैं। दूसरा, इसके पास हर वक्त नया इक्विपमेंट है, हर रोज बोलता है ये लेजर गन ले आया या कुछ ले आया, कुछ रॉकेट लेके आ गया या सबमरीन लेके आ गया, हर वक्त नया चीज आता रहता है। और जो नया चीज को इख्तियार करने में और इंडक्ट करने में फौज के अंदर टाइम लगता है, और वो अनटेस्टेड है, और अनटेस्टेड इन हाई एल्टीट्यूड। क्योंकि हमारा जो लड़ाई होगा वो उनके मैदानी इलाके में नहीं होगा, हाई एल्टीट्यूड में होगा। सो
बिल्कुल।
सेकंड न्यू थिंग इज इज इक्विपमेंट विच इज अनटेस्टेड। थर्ड थिंग इज इज ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। इसके जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, 4 साल पहले इसने थिएटर कमांड सिस्टम जारी किया। ये सब 4-5 साल में हुआ है। थिएटर कमांड सिस्टम लेके आया है, स्ट्रेटेजिक सपोर्ट फोर्स लेके आया है, पीएलए रॉकेट फोर्स लेके आया है, और अंदरूनी तरीके से इसके बहुत चेंजेस लेके आया है, राइट। तो एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को स्तर होने में टाइम लगता है, उसका कमांड कंट्रोल वगैरह वगैरह। और इसी के बीच इसने 4 बार वेस्टर्न थिएटर कमांडर बदली कर दिया, रॉकेट फोर्स के जितने टॉप लीडरशिप है उसको आउट कर दिया। बार बार ये उनका लीडरशिप को बुलाता है और पट्टी पढ़ाता है कि भाई यू शुड बी लॉयल टू द पार्टी। और यहाँ तक इसके जो रॉकेट फोर्स में ना, एक नेवी का आदमी जिसको रॉकेट्स के बारे में कोई तजुर्बा नहीं है, उसको हेड ऑफ रॉकेट फोर्स बना दिया। So you find that his leadership is also questionable। और एक और रिपोर्ट आया था 6 महीने पहले कि इसके पास ये जो he doesn't have commanders for his naval fleet which is expanded। So leadership। So the 4 new I feel are his equipment, his personnel, his leadership, and his organization। So what are your views on this? Because these are 4 things which will dictate whether he will undertake what kind of a thing he'll undertake. That's the thing. Will he undertake a big
I'll
war with this, or yeah? Go ahead.
I I think that's a very good question, and it needs to be analyzed uh, correctly so that we come to some conclusion. So we will start the other way around. You
Okay.
started off with soldiers and others. I always say that the entire game of war depends on leaders.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
if the
Which you take
leadership
it
is,
anyway.
yeah, if the leadership is good, he can create wonders with a weak force also.
Yes.
Maharana Pratap, Akbar. You compare anyone, right?
Anyone, koi bhi.
Now, what has he done? In the Politburo, he picks up a Second World War guy who fought the Vietnam War and puts him
And
into
brings
the
it.
Politburo. Why? Because he had some experience of the South China Sea. That links to your problem of the naval commanders' deficiency as far as the experience of naval commanders are concerned. And that is where India also needs to be careful that when we start doing some kind of a transformation, our leadership hierarchy change etc should take all these things into account, and we must have a balanced perspective. PLA army's extra domination in the China has somewhere led to this leadership crisis. One, when you start removing leaders very quickly, the policies change, the training changes, everything else changes. So rocket force change, Western commanders, 4 of them change in rapid succession. Western theater commander is directly opposite to India. What does that indicate? That these guys are and mind you, Kailash happened when all these things were going on.
Yeah. I agree with you.
So
That's why
that is
they
where
they couldn't they couldn't
that's
react.
why that's why okay. So that takes care of the leadership. That means currently the leadership has to get to know its work, get to handle new recruits. What you are talking about, new soldiers who keep changing every 2 years, and we are talking of Agniveers being a very unstable.
Yeah, ये तो दो अग्निवीर तो 4 साल के हैं, ये तो 2 साल के बच्चे हैं,
2 साल
दो
वाले. So
साल
you
में
can
निकल
imagine
जाते हैं।
their you can imagine their condition as to what they must. By the time they must be training themselves, they're out of the
Yeah.
window.
Yes.
So that's a major. As far as the soldiers is concerned, besides this 2 year tenure, I also find that the quality of life of Chinese average people has increased because I'm talking of the urbanization factor.
Yeah, yeah.
Their exposure to hardiness, which was earlier there when the
Earlier was high
PLA
nahi.
was under Mao, etc. Rural background, rural soldier, they had that hardiness amongst themselves. That's all gone, kaput.
Gone. Yeah.
It's
Kaput.
finished. It's finished. If they're taking oxygen like what you said, I believe they also take some medicine, which
Yeah.
allows you to
Yeah.
remain in high altitude terrain.
Altitude. Yeah.
Now ये दवा और दारू खा करके कोई लड़ाई नहीं कर सकता. I'll give you a personal example of my own. We had some kind of a flag meeting at one of our uh, places along our country, and it was followed by a lunch. It was a normal routine that when you are having lunch, before the lunch we offer drinks. Believe you me, all the PLA generals and brigadiers and what have you, those who were there in that EPIP tent where we had this first flag meeting of India and China when it started off, I was witness to that. I was a major that time. They drank like a pig. What,
Drank like a
what
pig.
I'm trying, what I'm trying to say is that somewhere down the line, the quality of soldiering is taking a beating because from top to bottom, this kind of a trend is there. And have you tasted their liquor? I have, because we were part of the number of these, meetings. Sometimes
Meetings.
violent, sometimes non-violent. Sometimes the violent meeting turns into a peaceful
Yeah.
end at the end of the thing. So they offer you cigarettes, etc., etc. So they offered me, a bottle of Chinese liquor, Chinese rum. We went back and shared it in our langar with our men, and our men liked it, of course. When I had it, it was so jarring that I felt even our, जो हमारी जो वैसी वाली रम मिलती वो भी उससे ज्यादा अच्छी होगी.
Goda wala
मेरा
rum.
कहने
Okay. Yeah.
why I'm saying these interesting anecdotes is to say that Chinese are not 10 feet tall.
Yep. I agree with you.
They are only trying to beat you in numbers. What happened in Yangtze? They came with 300 guys there.
And you got beaten up
300
because
लोगों को
why?
लेके आ रहे हैं, 200 लोगों को
वहाँ
लेके
जगह
आ
ही
रहे
नहीं है.
हैं.
वहाँ जगह ही नहीं है
You
उतना.
don't have confidence in yourself that you can match the 50 guys of ours.
Uh,
So that is as far as the soldiering is concerned. New equipment and weapon systems. What happened to their aircraft, second aircraft carrier? It was in docks
broken.
for maintenance. I don't know how many times, how many months. What happened to the submarine? God knows.
We don't
So
know.
so what we are trying to say is that even the fighters, I believe the Pakistanis are going for a development with Turkey for
Not
aircraft because
aircraft.
they were not very happy with the Chinese
Chinese
Chinese aircraft.
aircraft.
Yeah,
JF-17s.
JF-16
JF-17s.
or something. JF-17.
17.
So that is the story about their equipment, untested, untried, into battle. Take the case of commanders of the naval fleet. We have already discussed organization. Yeah, that was the last point. They have created this Western Theater Command, etc. A good step. I won't say that this is a bad step. This is a good step. Leaders have been focused to look at a particular area. They
Yeah,
have
yeah.
been given the resources. They have been given all the paper wise. It's been a very good idea and good move, I would say. But on ground, it is not being allowed to stabilize. That is a bigger problem, and that is where I falter. I highlight the faltering leadership of Xi Jinping.
Okay.
Xi
So
Jinping is not confidence in the PLA. When he's not having confidence in the PLA, the entire message goes down the chain, and therefore PLA also doesn't have faith in its
yeah,
CMC or
yeah.
Central Military
What you're
Commission.
saying is right. हर बार ये पीछे देखते रहते हैं. वो पीछे
So
वही.
सो लड़ाई कहाँ से होगी? जो इनके घर बैठे साइबर वाले हैं, जो इनके काबू
So
में रहते हैं,
नहीं,
इस तरह के लोग, दे विल बी एक्टिव.
active. So the point which why I took you through this is that from this one is very clear that he will not at this point of time चाइना के अंदर वो स्टेबिलिटी नहीं है कि he will go for all out war.
Yeah. That's right.
right?
That
That's right.
that's under.
So I would even say that there'll be no major jadap on the LSC. So what can happen? जैसे आपने
unless 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 we show a deliberate weakness somewhere because of our activities, that we have to be careful.
then
That we have
you
to be
have
careful.
so
If we get,
that's the
if we get into the routine, if we get into the routine as that has happened number of times, they will take advantage.
I agree with you. So in fact, that's where I was actually. You have come to the QED part.
Yeah.
Because I
Okay.
wanted to come to that level thing. So what you are saying is that if you take care of the LAC, there's very little scope for China to make headway. If you show
Absolutely.
a weak spot, he will take uh, advantage of
Abhi
it.
take. Yeah, they
He'll
will
take
take
an
advantage.
advantage of it. He'll take advantage of it. Okay. So at this point of time, with the military capability he has, and his economic capability and the ability of to get his comprehensive national power to bear on the LAC and in the wider Indian Ocean, the threshold of conflict, if it happens, will be very low. You'll agree with me?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So threshold will be low. There will be a grab action or a small infiltration and all that. And that will only be feasible if there's a weak spot which is developed, or say a local guy who's a little careless or shows a weakness, he will definitely take it.
He'll,
Right.
he'll snap. He'll take
He'll
advantage.
snap. He'll snap. So इसका what is the next thing we इसके लिए क्या करना चाहिए हमें? हमें पहले तो सतर्क होना चाहिए, इसमें दो राय नहीं है. अगर किसी तरीके से या किसी वजह से वो अगर कोई आके पकड़ लिया, तो हमारा, मेरे ख्याल में आप इसके ऊपर भी कमेंट कर सकते हो. इनफैक्ट आई वांट यू टू कमेंट. हमारा दो ऑप्शन है, या वो उसको वहां धकेल दो बाहर, कंटेन करके धकेल दो, या दूसरी जगह घुस जाओ.
बिल्कुल.
ये दो ऑप्शन है, या और कोई ऑप्शन है आपके पास, या इसी की ऑप्शन के ऊपर आप कमेंट कर सकते हो.
देखिए, ये जो दोनों ऑप्शन आपने बताए हैं, ये दोनों ऑप्शन एक्चुअली हर समय होते रहते हैं. ये भी मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूँ.
ये
मैं
हम
अपने एक
मैं नहीं, मैं सब ये आई
मैं
एम ब्रिंगिंग इट, ड्राइंग इट आउट ऑफ यू सो दैट सब एवरीवन अंडरस्टैंड्स द होल स्टोरी.
तो आपको पता ही होगा, आई वाज द चीफ ऑफ स्टाफ ऑफ ईस्टर्न
या
कमांड,
या 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 वी नो दैट.
राइट? So certain things happened there and Doklam happened, right? Why it happened? We were getting signals. It was not that we were not getting signals, but we went into the normal routine of assessment saying that, no, these guys, they just come every time, do some wrestling and go back. Finally, one fine day when they found that we are also in the routinized manner treating all these wrestling matches which we have between the two troops or the two sides, they came up with this kind of a surprise what happened in Doklam. But after Doklam, what we did, even they didn't know. I'm not going to reveal what we
Yeah,
did,
leave it. We leave it.
but what we did, it did force them to go back, repel, leave their dozer there itself, leave everything, went back. Now whatever they are doing it in their territory. They are building infrastructure. So you are also building infrastructure. You also made roads. You've also done
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
many
yeah.
across the board.
We we
So
don't
be
have
it.
to.
So be
So
it. So if they are doing it, it is good. They are committing their. That's why I said there'll be some kind of a limited mini Cold War which will start taking place.
yeah.
Another incident. Another incident. We picked up some signals. No conversation somewhere across, and that signal was moving towards the LAC. An assessment was quickly done in the core command headquarters. Everyone looked at the whole situation. We used to take 3 days to reach LAC because of a lack of infrastructure. We moved them, and even before they could enter the watershed, so-called McMahon Line watershed, we were able to stop them, push them back. Nobody came to know. Quiet action taken, done across. Such like actions are taking place on a very routine
Almost
basis,
routine basis.
but it has improved considerably in the last few years because of two things: artificial intelligence One has been used for satellite surveillance, etc., and for other aerial surveillance. And second are tie-ups with our friendly countries.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That is giving us kind of a very good
Lead.
very good advance notices on any kind of Chinese movements. So Yangtze got prevented. I would put the credit, a fair amount of credit for Yangtze from not turning out to be a serious situation to this particular aspect. That, and this is what I was referring to, that if we can preempt, that's the best. If somehow, because after all, defenses will always be breached. Second World War le lo, First World War le
Yeah,
lo,
kindly.
it's always there. That the magnet line got breached. So our defenses are prone to be breached. Human beings can't be 100% robotic surveillance, doing surveillance, etc. Even monitoring takes time, effort. If it gets breached, obviously there are options, counter options of going across into another area, and we will do that.
So we need
And
to
we
do
will do
that.
that.
Yeah, I
And we will
agree
do
with you
that.
completely.
If I'm thinking like a military man who's retired, I'm sure the serving guy who was being trained
हाँ,
by
वो
us
तो नहीं नहीं इसमें
and who was
डाउट नहीं
gone
है।
through this, वो भी ऐसे ही
नहीं,
सोचेगा.
ये मैं ये सवाल इसीलिए आज पूछ रहा हूँ आपसे ये सब, क्योंकि ये हालात ऐसे है जैसे आप हमने डिस्कस किया, ये जो आपने संक्षिप्त रूप में जो इंडिया चाइना का हालत आपने बताया, ताकि सबको पता चले कि लॉजिकली अगर आप सोचेंगे तो क्या हो सकता है, नहीं हो सकता, हम क्या कर सकते हैं, वो क्या कर
बिल्कुल,
सकते हैं।
बिल्कुल,
तो ये जो सीमा है, ये ट्रांस एलसी का झड़प का, ये और मेरा भी मानना ये है कि हमें हमें ग्रे जोन एक्टिविटीज ज्यादा शुरू करने की जरूरत है, इसमें दो राय नहीं
बिल्कुल,
है। हमारा
बिल्कुल.
जो डिप्लोमेटिक रवैया है उसको बदली करने की जरूरत है कि गो टू वन इंडिया, वन चाइना को नकार कर दो किसी तरीके से। वैसे हम वन चाइना को वैसे भी मानते नहीं है, क्योंकि हम वी आर मेंटेन्ड अ वेग पोस्चर ऑन दैट, सो वी कैन थ्रो इट आउट। एंड मेरे ख्याल में डोंट यू थिंक इट्स टाइम दैट वी स्टार्टेड डूइंग समथिंग इन टिबेट?
देखिए, अगर अभी नहीं करेंगे तो कभी नहीं कर पाओगे.
कब?
Succession is a major issue as far as Tibet is concerned of the Dalai Lama. Why don't you start the narrative for that? There are resources available with you. Why don't
यार
you start
गवर्नमेंट इन
using?
एक्साइल है, पूरा गवर्नमेंट इन एक्साइल है आपके पास।
सिकॉप सिकॉप जा रहा अपने आप बेचारा ऑस्ट्रेलिया, वहां जाके कुछ स्टेटमेंट दे रहा है. वो जो प्रेसिडेंट, सो कॉल्ड प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ
या
गवर्नमेंट इन एग्जाइल, प्रमोट हिम.
Yeah, in fact, let me tell you, today only I've made an outreach to, I said यार कोई है ये गवर्नमेंट इन एक्साइल में टिबेटन सिक्योंग या जो भी है जो उसका डेजिग्नेटेड है, आओ गनर शॉट के ऊपर बात करो, हम बात करेंगे आपके साथ और आपका क्या राय है, आप
करेक्ट.
जो भी राय बोल दो हम सुनेंगे। हो
बिल्कुल.
सकता है हम हमारे पास कोई आपके लिए कोई वी डोंट हैव अ सॉल्यूशन, बट कम से कम let him start speaking on Indian channels. That's
या
what I've been trying, and in fact today I've started. Let me see where we go, because unless ये जो तिब्बत का कहानी हम शुरू नहीं करेंगे तो ये प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा और
we are
हल
also
नहीं होगा।
we are also we are also planning something like that. देखो,
या
सक्सेसफुल
या
होते हैं
विल सी,
नहीं.
देखते हैं। या अगर आप जानते हो तो बुलाइए, हम आफ्टर ऑल मैं सबको बताना चाहता हूँ जो भी देख रहे हैं, जनरल दुष्यंत का जो स्ट्राइव चैनल है और हमारा गनर शॉट है, बाई बाई, वी आर फ्रेंड्स, वी आर नॉट अगेंस्ट ईच अदर, वी हेल्प ईच अदर। And
Against
for the
each other.
simple, yes, for the simple reason, let me tell you, General Dushyant and I started our friendship in California when we were in the Naval Postgraduate School doing the course there. So we are good
Yeah.
old friends from a long time. Okay,
Right.
so shall we take some questions? We'll take,
Yeah, yeah, sure.
yeah,
Sure, sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. First and foremost, Sheshadri Duvuri, thanks a lot for your super sticker. And let me see, there's a lot of issues. Okay. There's a comment, Jayan sir, I finally will be able to attend Lieutenant General Circus live. Has been more than 4 months now. I also have missed you butter chicken and naan. तो कम से कम वो बटर चिकन एंड नान वो चाइना वालों को तो खिलाना ही है, राइट?
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल.
ओके। Shankar sir, sketches are amazing and entertaining. Thank you. The idea is, to have something also. Right now,
Yeah.
let me
No,
see if there are any questions. Yeah,
visuals always give you better perspective.
no, there are building hardened underground bunkers and staying put at LAC. Don't worry. So what if he's in an underground LAC? Let him be there.
I just
Okay,
want to say that I just want to say that we have now forced them to commit and stay on the LAC. Earlier, these
LAC.
guys never stayed on the LAC, so they are feeling the heat now.
Yeah, they are feeling the heat. तो मैं देख रहा हूँ क्या क्या questions हैं. Why? Very funny. Okay, let's see. Ask Ganashot if China does start a clash following defensive offense, should army maintain status quo antebellum or take offensive to occupy strong dominating ground deep into the LAC? That's what
Okay,
we spoke.
I think yeah, this we already spoken about it. See, everything will depend on the situation at that point in time as to what kind of a action which he has taken. We would try to preempt any such activity taking place. If it does happen, then of course we would excise our options. There is
Yeah,
there is
no doubt.
no second ways about it.
Okay. Oh, here is a comment, Dinesh Kumar. I think we should not move away from reality. China is five times stronger than India in every respect. He is a bleak
Absolutely.
personality, but
I said, ठीक है,
he
we accept the devil his due, but
but
you see, you must know how to tackle a devil. So
hmm,
that is what we are trying to do, you know. So
yeah,
devil को ढूंढना,
अगर पहले
we are
ही
all,
नंबरों के you see the
we,
point what we are trying to put across to all of you is यार उसके पास सब कुछ बड़ा है बट क्या वो कामयाब होगा
अच्छा
आज तक
अब
67
सर सर
या
सर इनको मैं बताता हूँ, वियतनाम चाइना क्या हुआ, वियतनाम छोटा सा देश मुंह खा के गया वापस. Barring 1962, Chinese have lost everywhere.
67 86 Doklam and Kailash Ridge and Galwan also. So उनको
And
बहुत
we are,
जूते पड़े हैं.
बिल्कुल, and we are not even talking of century of humiliation.
या कोई ऐसे ही ये नहीं है. Hmm, okay, I don't see any questions. A lot of comments.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. Let's take this. Gaurang Convende. Given Xi's
given
aim to score internal political points amongst all options available, an attack on India is most likely as a failure here can be hidden from public view in China. Your views, sir?
so today's environment, hiding anything is very, very difficult, right? Even if they try to use their iron curtain, I know they have their own web, they have their own Weibo, they have their own social media platforms, etc. But there are agencies which are now able to look into Chinese aspects. So, you know, you're aware Galwan casualties.
Yeah,
They kept on saying that they haven't had any casualties. Finally, they were confirmed that they did get casualties. The public was actually, the Chinese public was actually quite upset about what
upset it.
happened in Galwan. So don't worry on that count.
Hmm.
If attack happens, it can't be hidden, and
Hmm.
we may not win, but we will not even lose. That's the way I look at it as of now in the current situation with
Yeah.
China is concerned. If they go in
We
for
no,
a
no,
war.
will not lose also. I am very confident if China comes with China will lose. Because China is in no position to take a great war. It doesn't have that capability. जो भी होगा बड़ा low level पे होगा. Okay. See, there's one thing which I want to explain to everyone. Today, that's why I said tomorrow when I put that video out on balance of power and deterrence, go through it in detail. You'll understand what India is all about, how India can do a lot of things, and how we have been doing it. When such global balance of power and deterrence is in play, there's very little threshold for war. There's very little window for war. The way we are thinking, right? Most of these long-range weapons, vectors, nuclear, and all are part of deterrent strategy. They're going to deterrence. So the level of war will be very less, and that war will be local. Okay. So what will happen in any eventuality of a conflict? It is reputational in nature. The idea is impose reputational costs on India, teach India a lesson. That is the issue. Maintain pressure on the LAC. These are the watchwords of the Chinese strategy, and you have to append them इस सोच में. ये जो सोच है इनका, इसके विपरीत अगर हम काम करेंगे और अगर हम कुछ करेंगे जिससे इनका सोच बिगड़ जाए, तो हम जीत गए. ठीक है, ये सोचो यांगजी में क्या हुआ. 300 लोग आए, हमारे 50 लोगों ने उनको मार के भगा दिया. उससे क्या हुआ, उनका जो लॉस ऑफ फेस जो चाइना को हुआ वो ज्यादा हुआ. अगर वो ये इलाका पकड़ लेते तो हमारा लॉस ऑफ फेस हो जाता. ये बात है इनकी, राइट. ओके.
Best weapons do not fire bullets.
Bullets. Okay. Okay. This is some chap with again. Our navy is good, but they lack frigates and destroyers. I think he's in, you don't
Okay,
know, so please. Huh?
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
that's okay. Let him.
Yeah, no, but people should know we have adequate destroyers, we have adequate frigates to handle China in the Indian Ocean.
We
Indian
are
Ocean,
matching.
we are not
We are
more,
matching.
we're more than matching.
We are matching, in fact, in major systems as far as China is concerned. In any case, how much can he bring to the Indian Ocean? He has
कुछ
to
नहीं लेके
cross
आ
the
सकते.
entire South China Sea and then come to this place, and he has to go through Malacca Strait, or go
And then
down to.
he'll hit in Andaman Nicobar.
We have plans adequately covered to block all the three straits which are there. Don't worry, if you
Yeah.
block them there, they have no way to come this side.
देख, मैं सबको बताना चाहता हूँ, मैंने जो पूर्व अधिकारी हैं सिनकैन ऑफ यानी कि जो CNC अंडमान निकोबार आइलैंड, जनरल अजय सिंह, उनके साथ मैंने अंडमान निकोबार आइलैंड के बारे में एक प्रोग्राम किया था पिछले महीने. आप लोग कृपया उसको देखिए. उन्होंने बड़ा क्लियर बता दिया कि हमारा क्या काबिलियत है. एक तरीके से बता दिया, क्लियर तो नहीं बताएंगे कोई, बट उन्होंने बता दिया. वो हाथी का पांव वगैरह के बारे में आप पढ़िए, देखिए. यू विल नो दैट आवर कैपेबिलिटी टू जस्ट ब्लॉक and not let China come this side of Malacca Strait in a hot war scenario or in any conflict scenario is very high.
भाई
Okay.
रास्ता चाहिए उसको. 3 ही रास्ते
रास्ता
हैं,
चाहिए.
और तीसरे रास्ते में ऑस्ट्रेलिया खड़ा हो.
Yeah. General sir, this episode is your best service to the nation. कि जागते रहो भारत. We should not false please ourselves कि जयशंकर gives cool answers or brick narrative or so. Yeah, बल्ले बल्ले. I agree with you. इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है. हमें बिल्कुल डटे रहना चाहिए और
बिल्कुल.
जो सतर्क होना चाहिए, इसमें दो राय नहीं है. Okay. General Z has recently purged the rocket force, has also shuffled the army high ranks away from their areas of expertise, posting being more on loyalty like the Soviets in the early Second World War. I mean, whatever your view are, यही तो हमने भी बताया. Okay.
यही तो कमजोरी.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sir, thanks for doing the service for the better of our nation. It is good to see the channel is growing as well. Look, the channel growing or not is irrelevant, but knowledge of what our capabilities to all of you is more important. कि कल के दिन ये ना सोचो आपके चाइना वाला के 12 फुट टॉल है, 10 फुट टॉल है तो फिलहाल 4.5 फुट का है. ठीक है, नूडल खाने वाला है. Okay. So talk of yeah, tell. Yeah, आप बोलिए.
नहीं, मैंने कहा बाजरे की रोटी और नूडल में बहुत फर्क होता है.
फर्क होता है. ठीक. General sir, please talk about our artillery, lightweight tanks and indigenous drones used in mountain warfare. Look, artillery I have spoken enough. एक पूरा मैंने एपिसोड किया आर्टिलरी के ऊपर. Lightweight tank. Yeah.
Even on lightweight tanks, sir, we are progressing well. I think it will be inducting very soon.
Inducting very soon. And
not bother
even our, don't worry. Even our drones, a lot of people are inducting a lot of drones.
In fact, in fact, as far as drones are concerned, indigenous drones are being getting inducted into the army in armed forces in a big way. This is going
Yeah,
to happen by this year, next year. So
yeah,
the budget, everything, orders have been given. So
you're right.
people can be rest assured. The government is working towards it. The armed forces are working towards making our nation secure.
Okay. Jain says, in case of a low-level nuclear exchange, will it not encourage Pakistan to do a similar thing with us? Also, reiterate the book name again. Ka- okay, the book which you
Yeah,
mentioned about.
it's the new rules of war, Sean McFate. It
Yeah,
doesn't talk about Pakistan or China in
it is
particular.
general.
It talks about in general that over a period of time, it's a long distance away, but as time passes, these low level conflicts which are happening all over the world, Syria, Libya, Iraq, then you have Russia, Ukraine. Over a period of time, there is a tendency in human being to escalate, right? And the escalation may rise to that level, is what he was trying to say, and then that will become an acceptable norm.
Okay.
ये
Uh,
terrorism
yeah.
हाँ
Yeah, you want to finish?
मैंने
You can
कहा
go ahead.
मैंने कहा यही चीज आप टेररिज्म में देखेंगे। पहले कुछ एक्टिविटी लेवल होती है, जब देखते हैं कि यार जनता तो यूज टू हो गई है, इधर एक बॉम्ब उधर एक वो, देन दे डू अ पुलवामा, देन दे फाइंड कि पुलवामा जैसे से भी पीपल आर ओके, देन दे डू अ 9/11 और अ पठानकोट। दैट इज द लेवल ऑफ एस्केलेशन which is done by people in any kind of conflict, but it takes time to do that, and nuclear will take that much more time.
Yeah. Sir Dushyant, I don't think they'll be transgressing on border. Chinese have tasted pie; it was bitter. China will wage economic and psychological warfare as it just costs a few $1 billion. Your view?
uh, just Jagpreet Vihad, I think, qualified this statement by saying that unless we give them the opportunity, they will not do it. So
Yeah,
therefore, we should not give the opportunity for the enemy to do any such actions, and that
yeah,
depends, and that implies that we have to be always careful on guard.
yeah.
गंगो नहीं होना चाहिए हमको।
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay. Um. Okay. There's so many questions. I don't know. Okay. Right.
So we can because most of them are like these only part of Chinese
Yeah.
policy.
This. I think we've answered the most things, and everything is generally covered. Uh,
And lot of these app questions we can take it on tomorrow also.
tomorrow. Okay. आप कल स्ट्राइव में आइए. वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक. आज इस साइड बात किया, हम कल उस साइड बात करेंगे. कहाँ? वेस्टर्न पैसिफिक और in the
Correct.
South China Sea, and we'll
Yeah.
also talk of what India can do there because वहाँ भी हमारा कुछ खेल है. ठीक. और
Correct.
वो जो भी हम वहाँ खेल खेल रहे हैं वो इधर फायदेमंद होगा. इसीलिए we have not spoken of that.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks a lot to all of you. So, like I said, tomorrow on Strive Dialogues, we'll meet 7 o'clock in the evening and we'll talk the other side of the story.
Yeah.
And I'll also put out the video tomorrow in the evening on what I spoke in Arunachal. And I'll also put out another video maybe tomorrow or day after about the major issues between India and China. How is China looking at India? ये तो हम बोल रहे हैं री लेवल ये लेवल. What are the issues which China has with India? How do they look at it from many purposes all round? वो भी मैं वीडियो बना रहा हूँ. Maybe tomorrow or maybe day after I'll put it out. Right. Thanks a lot for attending, and we must thank General Dushyant.
Thank you,
Anything
sir.
else you want to say, Dushyant, or we can
No, so
wind up?
I think we have covered this topic adequately, and thank you very much, sir, for calling me.
Yeah,
And
thanks a lot, and thanks a lot, and you gave a beautiful this thing, and all the viewers, thanks a lot to all of you. Good evening and Jai Hind, and have a good night.
thank you, sir. Jai Hind.
Bye, bye, Jai Hind.
Bye.